end of the year is upon us. It has been quite a year, across assets. What has it been like for you, and what are some of your biggest takeaways, highlights, lowlights, if you will, of 2022?
Well, I think it's been a painful year for a lot of people, but it's been a year of learning for me and for a lot of different investors. We saw an environment we haven't seen in a while, the Fed hiking rates aggressively, high inflation, a possible recession, and definitely a slowing economy. So when I look back, it was a year where it seemed like nothing worked, but when I look back, there were a lot of interesting crosswinds that led to a lot of different opportunities. They just weren't so obvious when we were going through it. Like in a period of high inflation, we saw real assets outperform, the things that you hold in your hand, dollars, commodities, a little bit of real estate here and there. So it's one of those years where if you look back, hindsight is kind of 2020 in a way. But at the same time, that's not how markets work, and we're heading into another uniquely challenging year.
Focusing in on Bitcoin specifically, how much lower can the price go right now? And I'm not asking for an actual price prediction, but what is going on? We're still monitoring the fallout of FTX. Right now, we're kind of zoomed in on, what is happening with Sam Bankman-Fried's case specifically, but we have yet to see how widespread the contagion could be. And then also on the macro front, I think a lot of people are ready to say goodbye to this year, but there's still going to be a bunch of volatility ahead in 2023. So how much lower can Bitcoin go, and how do you expect to see it play out over the next few months or even through next year?
Well, I think the analyst in me, whenever I think about where any kind of asset could go, I always think of the intrinsic value, aka or i.e. what that asset could be priced at if you look at the fundamentals. And the tricky thing about Bitcoin is we're still trying to figure out what that intrinsic value is. Crypto is still a young, risky market. We all know that. So we're still trying to get our hands around it. I feel encouraged by the stability we're seeing in Bitcoin's price. It tells me that at these levels, there are still some interested buyers. It looks like there still is some demand for Bitcoin here. And the macro environment is turning in Bitcoin's favor too. We have the Fed slowing on rate hikes. We have some progress on the inflation side. Crypto is a risk asset. I know that its identity is an open question, but I think we've seen pretty clearly this year that it's a risk asset, and the favor is turning back to risky assets. The problem is we don't know how much time that'll take, and Bitcoin falls into that bucket.